Wilson, what are you?
J&B straight and a Corona.
Would you like to hear this?
Double absolute martini.
Wilson!
Are you not entertained?
Wilson! Wilson!
Are you not entertained?
Yes, sir. Would you like to hear the specials?
Not if you want to keep your spleen.
Is this not why you are here?
Welcome to the Circle City Chat Room with Zach Griffith and Brett Sexton, a member of the Running Hook Podcast Network.
Welcome into another episode of the Chat Room. Me and Brett Sexton, joined by a first-time guest, a good friend of ours, Ben Friedlander. Ben,
howdy.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, Zach. Thanks for having me on.
Excited to have you.
Surprised you haven't been on yet. We've talked about it a lot. Never happened.
We've certainly had a lot of conversations about movies. They just haven't been recorded.
No.
Yeah, and we have to wait for a good movie for Ben, and I think we got a good one for you.
Yeah, we did. Brettis, you want to tell them what we're talking about tonight?
Yep. Tonight we're doing the 20-year anniversary of three very popular movies, American Psycho, Gladiator, and Castaway.
Nice. Three good ones.
Yeah. Ben, American Psycho, one of your favorites. Favorite of all of ours.
Psycho, yes. Psycho stood out to me in that list. Christian Bale, he's a winner. Favorite
Me too.
of mine.
Oscar winner, Christian Bale. Movies in 2000. For context, we got Gladiator, which we're talking about today, won Best Picture. Steven Soderbergh, Best Director for Traffic, a movie the three of us have seen many times against our will.
Chick. IUPUI, much respect.
He was nominated twice this year for Best Director. The other, Aaron Brockovich, pretty impressive. Russell Crowe, Best Actor for Gladiator. Beat out Tom Hanks for Castaway. And Julia Roberts, Best Actress for Aaron Brockovich. And Mission Impossible 2, highest grossing film of 2000.
Of 2000, okay.
Yeah. And then some notable releases. The Patriot, which Ben and I watched recently. Quality Mel Gibson film.
Good old Mel Gibson. I'd like to quiet all the people who say he looks like my father. Those comments. I know James is as well.
Almost Famous, Requiem for a Dream. Remember the Titans, which I'm sure we've seen many times.
Yeah, that's based in Huntington, West Virginia. Good old has-been town.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of a sad place now, but it used to be.
Well, the name is fitting then.
Yeah. Quality Denzel. Memento. Dinosaur. You guys remember Dinosaur? Remember that?
Big animated. It was really weird CGI.
Yeah.
Like, it was very realistic looking.
Weird movie. Unbreakable. We got some Shyamalan in there. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Quality. Might be the best film of this year. X-Men. The Emperor's New Groove. A classic from childhood. A classic. Snatch. A favorite of Brettis. Brett loves Snatch.
Yeah, that's such a fun movie.
Scary Movie. The first Scary Movie. Traffic, as we said. Aaron Brockovich. Dude, Where's My Car? Meet the Parents.
Dude, Where's My Car? That's what, Keanu Reeves, right?
No, that's
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. That's a fried movie.
So I haven't seen it.
Meet the Parents. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Jim Carrey. Final Destination. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Chicken Run.
Oh,
And then some more classics from childhood. Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. And then Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. So, not a bad year for movies in 2000. But we've got three good ones to talk about. Brettis, you want to get us started with American Psycho?
Yes. American Psycho, directed by Mary Harron, which is, in my opinion, very important, and I'll bring up. 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb. And our good boy Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. We talked about Ben. This is one of your favorite movies of all time. Out of 4. His scale is out of 4. So, but this is one of your favorites, right, Ben?
Yes. Yep, American Psycho. I think it encompasses a lot of one of my best friends, Brett Sexton.
Oh, wow.
It speaks about the psychopathic mind.
That's a damning statement to make about me. It's a comment I have to live with.
Oh, you know what? I'll back it up.
Co-host of a podcast / serial killer.
I will be expecting a phone call and knock at the door from the police.
Hey, I've seen your eyes gloss over, especially behind the wheel. Ben, is this your favorite movie?
It's not my favorite.
Top 10?
It's top 10 for sure, yeah. And it's definitely one of my go-tos when I just want to see a crazy white dude in a suit.
Is it one of your favorite Christian Bale movies?
Yeah.
It's a great...
What are some other Christian? Because The Fighter comes to mind as a Christian Bale I like a lot. What are some other Christian Bale movies?
There's the Dark Knight trilogy. Obviously, he's in The Big Short, but not.
Yeah, he was good.
The main character. He was really good in The Big Short.
Machinist.
The Machinist.
I haven't seen that.
Ford vs. Ferrari.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he was pretty good in that.
Yeah, Hostels.
That movie overall, though, Ford v Ferrari, I just didn't really get into it.
Yeah, biopics are interesting. My dad doesn't care for them at all. It's hard to blend making them interesting when they're based on really true events. They have to stick closely to what actually happened because so much weighs on the characters, and if you don't get into them, then everything else is kind of meh. I like Bale's character. I like the kind of wild nature that he presented, and I didn't know a whole lot about the Le Mans race.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to watch about that. Like they have to sprint after their car. They drive for 24 hours nonstop.
Right.
But yeah, I don't, it didn't leave a super lasting impact on me. It got nominated for a lot of Oscars, like editing and sound design, but.
And like you said, maybe I didn't like it just because I went in expecting the American film consumer. I want to see shit blow up.
Yeah.
I want to see some actresses take their tops off. Possibly, maybe.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, you need Michael Bay for that.
Transformers movies is what it sounds like.
And how much can you do for a story? How much are you going to change that story to appeal?
Yeah. When you're trying to tell something that's actually happened, you have to decide what do you want to keep accurate and what do you want to take a liberty with spicing up or making more intense. But like I said, in 10 years, I don't know if I'll be thinking about Ford versus Ferrari very often. So I agree with you. I don't think it made a super big impact. But back to American Psycho. What are some of your guys' favorite scenes? We have down Bateman's morning routine.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me, only an entity, something illusory. And though I can hide my cold gaze, and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours, and maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable, I simply am not there.
The infamous business card scene, Paul Allen's death, the chainsaw death, his date with the secretary, and then, of course, the big surprise twist ending, or just to name a few. I mean, there's so many quotable lines in this movie.
Did I miss you mention that there were the dog death?
Ah, yes.
I didn't have that listed.
The stompage.
The homeless man and dog double murder in an alley.
That's tough. That is a tough watch. Always. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time it's a tough watch. I like Bateman's morning routine.
Here's a great way to start the movie.
Yeah.
You get this very interesting introduction to this character through a voiceover, so it's through his lens. So you see himself, how Bateman wants people to see him. It's not an objective view of the character, which I think is really interesting.
Yes. And I enjoyed how as he's peeling off the physical mask,
Yeah.
He talks about just like his inner self and how it doesn't really exist, and he's just a masquerade of a man.
Yeah. He talks about himself that he's not really human.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very indicative of a psychopath, a murdering psychopath. Like, he has this routine that he has to follow every morning in this case, and just get really good insight into who Patrick Bateman is. And the business cards, too. I mean, that's how pissed off he gets at the business cards.
Yeah, I mean...
Bone.
Who's that the one gay guy who makes a pass at him later? He
in
has
the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the character's name.
Man, it's like it starts with an L. It's on the tip of my tongue. But he has like a better card than Bateman, and Bateman just like starts trembling, sweating.
Yeah. But I think that's what I like, and I can get into some of my personal notes about the movie, I guess, now. But specifically, how awesome of a job Mary Herron did. And I think being a female directing this movie is very important, because I do think if a man directed this movie, we'd get a very different portrayal of Patrick Bateman. He might almost be relatable, or you might almost root for him at some points, where as funny or as weird things that Patrick does in the movie, I think it's still presented as pathetic. I think you still see Patrick Bateman as a pathetic person. Like the business card scene, you look at the scene in itself, if you look at like feminist rhetoric, is a dick measuring contest. That's exactly all it is. What it is. It is all it is. But you see how he's just sweating, and he's full of rage. He's shaking at how this man could have a better business card than him. That he doesn't want these things.
Kind of like you when you get cut off on the highway.
Yeah. Somewhat. But the movie, oddly enough, I think is a comedy. It doesn't take itself too seriously because of like the performances. Like if it took itself too literally, the performances seem kind of goofy. Like the way that Christian Bale plays Patrick Bateman running naked with a chainsaw. Well, if it's going to be a very only serious movie, it would come off very differently, and I think it wouldn't land as well.
Some quality ass shots of Christian Bale. Quality.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Speaking of scenes, what about the scene when he's flexing in the mirror?
Yeah.
Oh, we know this. The homemade video, you mean?
Precisely. The amateur video.
America's Funniest Home Pornos.
Yeah. But do you...
I think you're absolutely right, Brett. I think having that female director, it changed the creative viewpoint in a way that a fresh take on a crazy man.
Yeah, because I don't think she glorifies any of his actions, which I don't know would have been the case if a man had directed it. Because there's the idea of like the male gaze and the female gaze, which is a newer term. But I always think of the writer Tana Modleski, who wrote a book called The Woman Who Knew Too Much, which is about Alfred Hitchcock and his movies and how he treats the women, specifically the blondes in all his movies. And I thought about what she would think of this movie, because it shows kind of the underbelly of the male ego in the 80s in a business environment.
Yeah.
Of that toxic culture that I don't think would have been so keenly caught by a male who might be in that culture, because she's probably experienced that in Hollywood at the time. So I think that's reflected in what she's dealt with in Hollywood and what she portrays in this business world with all of these guys that are so fixated on who has the coolest business card.
I think if a male directs this movie, he's almost looked at as an invincible character. And I think it's damn near a slasher movie if a guy directs this movie. You don't get the nuances, like you don't get the human side of him. You definitely don't get another scene I forgot to mention, the laundromat scene.
Yeah.
Or the dry cleaners.
Yeah, you don't get that because it shows you how he treats people, how he treats his wife.
His cranberry juice.
Yeah, it's tough to get out. It's tough to get out of the sheets.
Yeah, he's like, he represents all the worst aspects of like an egotistical guy of that time period, even some point today. But I really don't think it'd be the same. I think she understood it from such a unique perspective that like you said, you'd probably have a slasher film or more of an action than a psychological thriller about the deconstruction of this character, Patrick Bateman.
This is by far her best known work. I looked up what else she's done. She's only done like 4 other movies, and I've never heard of any of them. So,
yeah.
This is by far her best known work. So, what would you say the best scene is then?
I really like the scene when he tries to feed the cat to the ATM.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
When he starts, you get those first glimpses of
because that's
what
when
the hell is going on.
Slipping in his world.
Yeah, that's when the film takes a very different turn. Especially because that's a good scene for your first time watching the movie.
And then the shootout that just follows that shortly thereafter, that scene, that is such an unrealistic type shootout. It makes it seem, I think it kind of touches on the whole idea that maybe the story was just made up in his head.
I mean, and you get that too.
Hard to believe action scene. Like it was.
Yeah. And you have the way that she directed it too. Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, when he shoots one bullet and the cop car explodes, they have him even look surprised. Even he's
done and throws it.
Yeah, even he's weirded out by what's going on. And your first time viewing it, everything up until like the cat at the ATM, it's just a movie about this crazy person, this psychotic businessman who's willing to do whatever it takes to get to the very tippy top of the business world. And when you get to there, you start to think something's a little off because the movie takes a very weird dream-like turn after that.
Right.
And then the scene where he calls his lawyer.
Oh,
after.
Damn! I forgot about that one. That's my favorite scene right there.
I just had to kill a lot of people, and I'm not sure I'm gonna get away with it this time. So I mean, I guess I'm a pretty, I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
Him on
Killed
the phone.
a lot of people.
Yeah. But I don't know if I'm going to get away with it this time.
Great lighting in that scene with the spotlight coming in through the blinds.
Yeah.
Hell of a scene.
What about when the lawyer talks to Patrick? I believe it's like at a party. It's in
at the very end when he shows up in person and he's freaking out, but the lawyer has no idea.
Yeah.
He thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's like, Paul Allen's dead. And he's like, that's impossible. I just had lunch with Paul Allen.
So do you think it was all a creation of Bateman's brain? What do you guys think?
That's what I took it as, especially the ending.
Yeah. And I think that's partly because of Mary Herron's direction. Like, I don't know if that's even in the movie, male directed. I think it's all real. Yeah. I think it's more the deconstruction of Patrick Bateman to show that he really is more of a loser than a champion, that he would like to present to everybody, that he really doesn't do all of these crazy things. But then there are debates of, are some real and some not? Are certain murders that actually take place, but some didn't? Because at the beginning of the film, we don't see, before we know that he's kind of slipping mentally, like the laundromat scene, we don't see what took place to get him there. We know what he does at work, and then he changes somewhat in the night, but all we see is a bloody mattress sheet. We don't see what happened or who he was with when that happened. That is very early on in the movie before we see the breakdown of him mentally. So maybe that is a murder he actually committed, and that did something to him that made him think he was a psychopath, that made him think he was all this, and started hallucinating and having all these, dreams of grandeur because that first murder was committed. But it's very interesting like that.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I'm thinking the homeless guy was real. That was a real death. And then I think the hookers were real. Well, I don't know if the hookers were real, because remember when he goes into the
chainsaw?
Yeah, I think that was real.
I think that makes me think it's not real.
Maybe a little too accurate with the chainsaw throw.
Yeah, dropping it and it perfectly hitting her seems almost like it almost seems like there would be a voiceover from Patrick Bateman and he'd be bragging about how he accurately dropped a chainsaw from 3 floors up and had a spot on death, because he's drawing on like napkins at the restaurant in the next scene.
Yeah.
Like he's proud of it. Like he's almost bragging about how cool this death was. So I don't know if any of the murders were real besides what we saw with those bloodied sheets in the very beginning.
Well, we can assume whoever he stored in Paul Allen's apartment wasn't real, because remember that realtor showing it and it's empty. Nothing there. Reese Witherspoon in this movie. How about that?
Yeah, taking her lithium.
Yeah.
Like a good girl.
A lot of lithium.
I need to return some videotapes.
Where are you going?
Just leaving.
But where?
I have to return some videotapes.
I miss the days of Blockbuster when you could actually say that.
Need to return a videotape.
Yeah.
There's still some family videos out there.
That's true. Let's want to buy them all.
You can say that in the right neighborhoods and it'll fit.
That's a fact. And then I'll take the performances, Bredis. Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. Touched on it a little bit. I know you probably didn't have your rankings ready, but where do you rank this among his performances? I think it's pretty high. I think I would even have it number 1.
I think it's fairly high, especially for what it did for his career.
Yeah.
I kind of put him on the map as a phenomenal actor.
Bean?
Yeah, I would put it at number 1 on my list as well.
I think The Fighter is very close behind, though.
Fighter's up there. The Machinist is up there.
Yeah. Vice.
I'd put it top 3. I would definitely put American Psycho's top 3 for his performances.
Definitely put him on the map. We'll get into the casting what ifs at the end, but let's just say they nailed the casting on this, because the guys we're going to rattle off, I don't see it. Willem Dafoe as Detective Donald Kimball.
So, what's the topic of discussion?
I've been hired by Meredith Powell to investigate the disappearance of Paul Allen.
I see, yeah. Paul's disappearance, yeah.
The supporting characters don't get much here, but there's some pretty big actors in this movie. Willem Dafoe, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
A favorite of me and Bredis. Convincing detective, I think. I think he's hot on the trail of Bateman.
Do you guys think his character seemed odd in the way he was portrayed in the movie?
No,
The way he was asking questions?
I think he seemed like he was on a good lead, and he was a hardworking detective.
Do you know why it seems like that?
Why?
Because they had Willem Dafoe shoot every single one of his scenes 3 times, 3 different ways. One where he had no idea if it was Patrick Bateman or not. One where he 100% knew in his mind that it was Patrick Bateman, and one where he was kind of on the fence. And they intercut all 3 at the same time. So when he brings when he brings out like the Huey Lewis tape in his office, that was from a specific take. A different reaction where he does that, but then he immediately loses, like he's off his trail, then he's on his trail again. Then he thinks he does
genius.
He doesn't. Yeah, there's some video or film where I read about that, but they shot all of his scenes 3 times, and he was supposed to shoot them with 3 different mindsets.
That is fucking genius.
And that's why when you watch it, if you go back and rewatch it now, in every scene where he's talking with Patrick, it feels like he's going up and down, like he's got him dead to rights, but then he doesn't think Patrick did it, and he's more relaxed, but then he's right on it. Like, why did he pull out a Huey Lewis CD?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. The first one is the cut where he knew it was Patrick Bateman.
When he does, yeah, but in that same scene, they have the multiple versions. But that moment where he pulls out the CD was one of the takes where he was hot on his trail and knew, because there's no other reason why he would do that. But then in that same scene, it seems like he doesn't think it's Patrick, or Patrick's eluding him, which only plays into the psyche of Patrick Bateman and is everything real. But I think it's such a genius move to not only shoot it 3 ways, but to intercut all 3 in this exact same conversation.
It's fucking
so
genius.
the detective is kind of up and down. You don't really know if he knows or not. So so it makes you as the viewer not know for sure.
Yeah, and with Willem Dafoe, he's a good enough actor. You can do a creative choice like that, and
oh hell yeah,
have it pay off.
Yeah, it creates a lot of doubt, which I just think added to how phenomenal this movie is.
And then we got Jared Leto as Paul Allen. Didn't end well. Didn't end well for Jared Leto here.
It's not.
Never does.
He plays a pompous asshole pretty well though.
He does.
He might have the funniest death.
Yeah, I would say so.
What did he got all these newspapers for?
Just
the dog?
He's just plastered. Looks like us after a night at Colonial. Just
and like Bale in that scene, how goofy he is when he's like dancing around. He's so uppity and chirpy, putting on Huey Lewis, asking him about the music in the band, the way he's like moonwalking around his apartment.
Yeah.
Casually grabs the axe.
Yeah, I think if he plays that straight, it's a super intense scene. It doesn't have the same impact.
Yeah,
I think it's the fact that he is so over the top and
for sure.
It seems like a game.
He plays a killer so well. Like I honestly feel like this guy has to kill, or he's just not going to function. He has to kill in order to go on with his day. Unbelievable. And then Chloe Sevigny as Jean, the secretary. She dodged a bullet. Literally dodged a bullet here.
Yeah.
He just came over.
I believe it was a nail gun to the back.
Dodged a nail in this one. She plays the kind of helpless. She plays the helpless female character pretty well. She's not a dumb blonde necessarily, but
she voicemail saved her life.
Yeah, a voicemail.
If someone didn't call Patrick Bateman, she's dead.
Reese Witherspoon didn't call Patrick Bateman, she'd be dead. Bringing it into the deaths. Who got it the worst? Nobody got it good. Who got it the worst? I'm going with the homeless guy.
Yeah, he got stabbed a few times in the guts.
He didn't do anything wrong.
No.
The chainsaw from multiple stories up getting dropped on you, that's a bad way to go too.
Yeah.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
I'm putting them at like 1 in 750.
God.
Yeah.
Because maybe it was karma for the prostitute life. Getting killed.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Paul Allen's death is brutal though too. It's the goofier ones, but it's just an axe murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is the funniest death. I mean, the other ones aren't really funny, but that one.
No.
How the other hooker getting stabbed under the covers.
Yeah, not a good look.
No.
That was a messy one.
No, but I'm going with homeless guy. Thoughts on the ending? Ben, first viewing of American Psycho. What was your opinion of the ending?
Pretty much just that it was a creation of a crazy man's mind and that it didn't happen. That's what I took from the ending.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I got from it too.
I think the ending is what makes it the best of the three we'll talk about, because I'll still watch it and talk about it to this day. Or I don't bring up Gladiator or Castaway all the time. Having an ambiguous ending like that makes you question what you've just seen for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is the sign of a really good movie. If you, as soon as you watch a movie and you're done and that's it, it's good in the moment, but it doesn't leave an impact.
The movies we're talking about, 3 unbelievable lead performances. Unbelievable. Yeah. Impact on psychological thriller. Oh yeah, Ben, go ahead.
Who's the lead on Gladiator?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, yeah.
He had a better supporting cast, though.
Yeah, Russell Crowe had Joaquin and Richard Harris. He had some heavyweights with him.
Where it was really Christian Bale carrying this, and of course, Tom Hanks had to carry Castaway.
Yeah.
Only person on screen.
Tough. Brettis, how about you on this one? Impact on psychological thrillers. We mentioned the ending a lot. Mentioned the mindset of Bateman. What influence can you see going forward?
I think the biggest impact it had is on that psychological character study, where you get, to an extent, maybe a vibe of Taxi Driver, where you get a forced perspective, not as heavily as Taxi Driver, but like in the intro when it's him talking, so you only get the image of Patrick Bateman through the eyes of Patrick Bateman. You don't really get a lot of objective viewpoints in this movie. I think that's carried over the most, that the best psychological thrillers are the ones that make you second guess, that the protagonist is, if they are a narrator, is an unreliable narrator. So they're presenting all these facts, but they're only facts to themselves. And I think that's the biggest impact that it's had.
Yeah. You saw shades of that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Cliff Booth, especially when he's retelling the Bruce Lee story.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and watch that scene, I've probably seen that movie like 7 times. But I actually need to own this movie, American Psycho. It's not in my collection. I'm ashamed of that. I need to find a way to get it. But
That'd be a good pickup.
Yeah, it would. Be a worthy addition. But in that Cliff Booth scene, he's fighting Bruce Lee, and at the beginning of the fight, all the crew are around them. And then when Kurt Russell comes, he's like, what the hell's going on? All the crew's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me think maybe he didn't kick Bruce Lee's ass. Maybe it was all in his head.
Huh.
But yeah, kind of touching on what you said, bro.
Yeah, and those make for the best movies. So the psychological thriller is such a unique genre in that a lot of them are entertaining to watch, but the best ones require that second or third watch.
And this definitely does.
Especially with the ending like this, when you watch it and it makes you think, oh, it's all in his head, you have to do a rewatch and watch it from a different perspective. For example, this time that I watched it through that feminist lens, really focusing on what, Mary Herron did, like her choices and some feminist rhetoric and how he's presented, how he treats women, how that, that toxic culture, especially in the 80s business, how it could relate to her experience in Hollywood. And it's a whole different movie. The first time you watch it's completely different. You're surprised at every twist and turn. The second time you watch it, you maybe look for the little hints that make you think that's all in his head. And then it's a movie that has a lot to offer with every rewatch. There's different things to look for, which I don't think a lot of movies have. This genre is an interesting genre in that aspect, where I think a lot of really good psychological thrillers require 1 or 2, 3 viewings, because by the end of the movie, you might be confused. You might leave the theater scratching your head going, I don't know what the director's point was. Why did they make that decision? That really makes you keep thinking and have a discussion like this with your friends, maybe not on a podcast, where you each debate on what's real, what death is real. Do you think he killed all these people? It's such a profound impact on a movie.
As you said that, Brett, it just reminded me again of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and just Tarantino, how he just constantly does shit like that.
Yeah.
It makes you question the reality that the characters in the story are living in.
Yeah. I mean, Tarantino's the best, especially when he deals with history, because he changes shit.
Yeah.
Like in the very end, if you know anything about the Manson murders and the Manson family, you fully expect
not at all accurate.
You fully expect the worst case scenario of Sharon Tate to die again, but oops, these characters, he's upset. They're making a lot of racket in his cul-de-sac, so he comes out, pisses them off, gets their attention. Same with Inglourious Bastards. Hitler gets shot into a rubber mess.
Yeah.
In the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler takes an L in that movie. I torched her. I torched the third one. My buddy and his dog killed the other 2.
Yeah, that climactic ending is something else. If you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if you're intimidated by the runtime, it flies by. It's
worth it.
It's a Tarantino movie. It does not feel like it's 3 hours. You'll blink and it'll be over. It doesn't drag at all.
What a film.
Back onto American Psycho.
Yep. So no Oscar nominations for this movie. How do we feel about that 20 years later?
Well, I mean, obviously, Patrick Bateman, that was a character deserving an award.
Yeah.
At least a nomination.
Christian Bale, we should have at least got a nomination. I mean, come on. The guys that were nominated this year, obviously Russell Crowe won for Gladiator, which, you know, I agree with. Tom Hanks, Castaway. And then Ed Harris for Pollock, which it's a Jackson Pollock biopic. I've never seen it.
Mm-mm.
Never once.
Well, I don't remember what got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, but I feel like this could have been nominated in that category. I mean, this is adapted from a novel, and this is a beautiful screenplay.
So what won that category?
I'll look it up here.
Yeah.
Keep going, Brett.
But if you look at the screenplay, you look at the PDF, a simple Google search, and you can read it. There's a lot of elements while you're reading it go, this going to be horrible. When you read the screenplay and the way that she writes out, I forget who the other screenwriter was, but him running naked with a chainsaw, you know, you think, how in the hell are you going to show this? How are you going to do this without this being obscene and dumb?
Yeah.
But it's written so well, it's paced very well that I'm surprised it didn't get nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah, so Best Adapted Screenplay was Traffic 1, based on the British TV series Traffic. So, yeah. The other nominees, Chocolate, never saw it. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, saw it once.
Yeah.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou, which that's it. I mean, come on. It's the Odyssey. Come on.
I love that movie. Yeah, it's kind of unfair when you're adapting Homer's epic.
Yeah. We've seen that countless times. And then Wonder Boys, which... never heard of it. So
right, you definitely could have. But we have our own gripes with how the Academy does things.
Very much a love-hate relationship with the Academy.
And the decisions that they make.
Yeah. Go back to the doc.
The Academy is pointless and stupid. Those awards mean nothing, but I watch them because I hope that certain talented people get recognized. That's all it is. Like,
yeah,
the way they choose is so stupid. And if you've been on Twitter and you've seen the past few years, the anonymous interviews of people on the board that vote for movies, and you hear about some categories that go, I didn't watch any animated films, but my grandkid said they liked Toy Story 4, so that's what I voted for. You see some people that vote in the Academy haven't even seen all the movies in each category, that it's all garbage.
Are the members of the Academy just like alleged experts or something?
It's all kinds of people in the industry. I think I saw a tweet that said they just added 800 plus new members to the Academy this year.
Yeah, because they had to diversify the group of old white men, which is what it was.
So they added, I think, 800 plus new people to the Academy. I don't know what the requirements are, but yeah, it's either a film historian, film critic, producer, something in the industry where you've been in the process of filmmaking long enough to know what supposedly makes a really good film and what doesn't. But there's so much bias and Oscar bait movies because they obviously are looking for certain things at certain points of the year that I watch them hopefully for specific categories that I want to see somebody be recognized.
Is there a open-ended voting like award for movies out there that's recognized that just viewers, anyone can vote?
Oh, like a fan vote?
Yeah. Is that a
just multiple things? They tried to add something like that called the most popular movie a couple years ago. They talked about adding a new category to the Oscars for most popular, which would always just go to like a Marvel movie, but that got shot down. But if anyone's interested or who doesn't watch them, the SAG Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, I think is more fun to watch because you have to be a SAG member to vote. So it's writers, directors, actors, producers, people currently in the industry voting amongst each other in a way.
Those are always cool to watch.
Yeah. More often, the people that win Best Picture or Best Actor usually will win it at the Oscars. But it's interesting to watch that because it's peers kind of voting amongst each other. But it's the same with watching or looking out for the Cannes Film Festival, what wins those at the Golden Lion, Sundance for a lot of smaller indie movies that might get a lot of recognition and on a Hail Mary get an Oscar nod.
Okay.
But
the Academy
it's all
just
symbolic.
pisses me off because, like, I will say for last year, they got it mostly correct. Last year's Oscars were pretty straightforward. That'd be hard to fuck up. But in general, Ben, the thing that pisses me off about the Academy, they do these like retcon Oscars. Like they'll get one wrong, and then they'll give it to somebody who doesn't deserve it, but it's because they fucked it up when they did deserve it, and they gave it to the wrong person.
Okay.
Like Al Pacino didn't win for Godfather Part 2, and he should have. And they gave it to him like 20 years later for Scent of a Woman. Have you ever seen Scent of a Woman?
I've not.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying he wasn't good at it, but like, we know why you gave it to him. It's because you should have given it to him 20 years ago and you didn't. It just pisses me off. And they did it with Scorsese too. Like he should have won for Goodfellas and The Aviator, and they gave it to him for The Departed, which he should have won anyway. But
absolutely,
it was a given they were going to give it to him because they fucked up twice before. So, just stuff like that irks me the wrong way. But
yeah,
I'll shit on them all day, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna watch them every year. So,
Brett, I got a question for you. The Heartland Film Festival. I know you did some work for them.
Mm-hmm.
How do they do their awards for their films?
Yeah. So when I was a film screener, I was given access to this unfathomably large database, and I had a sheet after I would watch each film, and I would give it a grade, I think out of 5. I would leave comments and notes, and really what I was supposed to do is suggest if it should be looked at by the higher up people that actually make the film selections for each category. But it was really looking for unique movies that also fit Heartland's vision. So it wasn't necessarily only about what was a really good movie, but what meets Heartland specific qualifications. And that's really fun because you get both ends of the spectrum. Some of them got a really good, decent budget, quality actors, and a higher production. I watched one that felt like it was maybe shot on a cell phone. It had a pretty unique story, but other elements were lacking. But it's very interesting to see the varying scale of submissions. But that was my role. I would suggest to their board what I think they should take their time to look at, because they don't want to go through 1,000+ movies. So they have X amount of screeners, and we were tasked with watching movies and saying if it should be passed on or it's not worth the time.
As far as like what they choose to give awards to, do they just let the audience vote on that?
They do have audience award winners.
Yeah.
The audience, every showing you go to, I think you get a slip of paper and you can write your own grade or review for the film, and they take that into consideration. And there is a fan award or most popular something. I forget the name of the award, but
I like the idea of an award for a movie being everyone who's seen the movie, not just
I like it too.
Academy of just certain viewers, where you have to be invited to a special club and then you can vote on who gets the award.
Yeah,
it seems a little dumb to me.
It's good and bad, because when you have that quote unquote special club, there's at least a bar that they are supposed to meet. There's a certain knowledge they're supposed to have, where, I mean, you'll see it on Twitter, the mob mentality around a movie. If a movie is not well liked, people will just shit on it because that's a popular thing to do.
Yeah.
Or if a movie is really popular, they'll just like it because everybody likes it. Like, as bad as BVS is in certain elements, there are people that will say it's one of the worst movies they have ever seen.
I wouldn't go that far.
And that's because the hate is just so built up.
Yeah.
I mean, even Suicide Squad, people say it's the worst movie they have ever seen. And you probably haven't seen enough movies if that's the worst movie you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's because it was such a disappointment and everybody piles on. Mob mentality, especially in this digital age, is so horrendous that I don't know how that category would go if it was for like an Oscars. For people that don't see a lot of movies or they just go, I like that.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of people just regurgitating information they've heard, you think?
Yeah.
Reading what their friends think.
I didn't like the most popular Oscar at first when they announced it because I just thought like, well, it's a cop-out, so you don't have to give a Marvel movie an actual Oscar. But at least they're getting some kind of recognition from the Academy. Even if they had to make up an Oscar to give it to them, at least they're getting something.
In a way, too, yeah, you could see a much smaller cult-like movie get an Oscar then. If there's a movie that might not be perfectly made,
yeah,
like it falters in Act 2 or something like that, but there's a certain goofy charm or there's a cult following behind it.
Like American Psycho.
Blair Witch might have gotten an Oscar. If that was a category back then, the cult following that surrounded that film, I would guarantee it would have gotten an Oscar for fan favorite movie.
Fight Club
probably would have gotten that Oscar. I mean, it would bring to light some interesting movies that not everybody sees but have a super strong vocal following.
Yeah, I think that Oscar goes into effect maybe next year.
And that's the most popular, you said?
Something
yeah,
like
it was
that.
like best popular film or something.
So is it just...
Yeah.
Basically the movie that made the most money.
Yeah, it's weird because
an Oscar.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's weird because in your mind, when you hear that category, you would just think, well, wouldn't that just be the best picture? That's kind of the argument some people have made, that wouldn't the best, most popular movie arguably be best picture? But like Zach said, it probably could be for those comic book superhero movies that usually just get tossed away to best special effects, best costumes.
Sound.
Yeah.
Like The Dark Knight. Now, granted, 2008 was when there were only 5 nominees for Best Picture. Now they do 10, which is probably what they should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah.
But like Dark Knight wasn't nominated for Best Picture in 2008.
Yeah.
You're telling me there were 5 movies better than The Dark Knight in 2008? I don't think so. I don't think so. But nowadays, now that it's 10, like last year, Joker gets nominated.
Mm-hmm.
You get movies like that. So I think upping it to 10 was a good choice. But yeah, I'll have to look up and see when Best Popular Film goes in there. Pretty sure it's next year. I know it wasn't immediately, but yeah. And some casting what ifs here. I can only find them for Bale's character. Leo considered for Patrick Bateman.
Wow. That would have been a different movie.
Yeah, I think it would have been a totally different movie.
Ooh.
And I think he was too big of a star. I mean, he's coming off Titanic, Romeo and Juliet. Like, this guy is top of the line box office star.
I mean, you see the budget down there. I don't think that's going to be the budget if you have Leo in the movie now.
Yeah, $7 million budget.
I don't think that's going to work anymore if you have a star like Leo.
No, he's going to ask for double that to be in the movie. I mean, especially in Titanic, this is the highest grossing movie of all time until Avatar.
Yeah,
for a solid decade, yeah. Edward Norton.
I don't think he takes it because this is.
I didn't see that.
No.
What is this? How many years after Fight Club is this? 1?
This is 1 year after Fight Club and 2 years after American History X.
If he does this, does that pigeonhole him to this weird psychological thriller character? Because this is very similar to what his character was in Fight Club.
Yeah.
Right.
Forced perspective, what happens, what really doesn't happen. I don't know if that would have been the best choice for him a year earlier doing this role. That might have stuck him in that box.
That'd be a hell of a 3-year run, though.
Yeah.
American History X, Fight Club, American Psycho. No, I don't think American Psycho's as good with him in the role. I don't think it's even close, but
it's hard in retrospect, looking back with hindsight, that how well Christian Bale did to see anybody else doing that.
Yeah.
What movie was this for Christian Bale? How early was it in his career?
Well, he's kind of weird because he was a child actor
Mm-hmm.
So he was in a Spielberg movie called Empire of the Sun, which
this is his breakout movie. So
yeah,
that's the way to look at it. It's one of his earlier movies. Yeah,
it's definitely. I mean, it's 5 years before he's Batman.
So was he like mid-20s when he did this role?
I think so. Yeah, because I think he was born in the 70s, but he definitely doesn't have the leverage he has today. Definitely very early on in his Hollywood career.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars prequels. Not seeing it.
No.
Not seeing it. Interesting, but not seeing it. And Johnny Depp, our boy Johnny, expressed interest in the role. I think he's too old.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Bale was at he was not too young. He wasn't too old. He's like mid-20s.
Perfect casting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect casting. Some fun facts about the film. Mentioned the $7 million budget. Made $34.3 million at the box office, so did pretty good against that budget.
And I don't think as many people have seen this movie as we would like to think. Like based on that alone, only $34 million. It's has a very, like I said, a vocal cult following.
Yeah.
That if you haven't seen it and someone really likes it, they'll hound you to see it. They'll give it such high praise. I think there's a decent amount of people out there that have just never gotten around to watching American Psycho.
I watch American Psycho probably 2 or 3 times a year.
Keeps you regular.
Yeah. Let's be known. Let's be known I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like Brett said, based on Bret Easton Ellis's 1991 book, Bale and the director Mary Herron were first attached, and then they were replaced by Oliver Stone and Leonardo DiCaprio. But then it switched back. Lionsgate, the producer, pursued Edward Norton or Leonardo DiCaprio and claimed that Bale wasn't famous enough, which it's a fair claim.
Yeah, they're right at the time.
Yeah. Herron refused to meet with Leo. Refused the meeting.
Wow.
Well, you know why. Look at the next line.
Yeah, this is why. Leo asked for $21 million of the proposed $40 million budget.
That's why. I mean,
yeah.
So he wants over half the budget.
Yeah.
And this is a young Leo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we said, though, he's hot off the highest grossing film of all time.
Titanic, and what else was there?
Romeo and Juliet.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
So he's fairly established, especially after
Diaries.
Titanic. After Titanic, he's a superstar. He's a heartthrob.
Film ticket.
Yeah, I mean,
you could argue he's the biggest actor in Hollywood after Titanic.
And there's certain roles that it hurts the movie if the actor is too famous. If you want a character to get lost in the role, it's almost counterproductive to cast somebody that's a superstar because you'll just see them as like The Rock. The Rock is not a phenomenal actor. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
No.
He's just The Rock in different movies.
Yeah.
When I watched Baywatch, I didn't believe that he was a lifeguard.
No.
I was like, wow, The Rock is doing The Rock things.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't believe it?
No, I didn't believe Baywatch didn't sell me on that idea.
How far below is The Rock on? How far under The Rock?
You're having a hard time there.
I didn't even say it. How far under Bale is The Rock?
He's pretty far. He's pretty far down there. But the thing, it doesn't matter. All his movies are big Hollywood blockbusters because people want to see him do big Hollywood shit.
Sexiest man alive.
He's the biggest man alive.
Yeah, he could break my neck.
He travels with a gym.
He just bought the XFL.
Yeah, just bought the XFL for $15 million.
Him and some investor partners bought the XFL.
$15 million, like in
That's a steal. With his name attached.
Cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
Well, the XFL makes no money. It started to make some, but then COVID shut it down because it would just revamp this year.
It's a flex. It's just a flex. That's all it is.
But his marketing, the fans that support him, the TV ads he'll get, you're going to see the XFL explode.
See, these are the tangents we were talking about, Ben. We're talking about the XFL.
The XFL is fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
I would like to see some competition in the professional football space.
Yeah, I would love to see the XFL Super Bowl fighting with the real Super Bowl, because I might never watch a Super Bowl again. They're normally very boring and long. I'd love to see some action-packed XFL action.
Yeah, unless the Colts are in the Super Bowl, I'm watching the XFL Super Bowl every time.
We need to find the nearest XFL team and maybe pay them a visit.
I'm sure they'd sign us on.
Yeah, they would, especially if you have a criminal record. We'll sign you on.
They used to pay per game. You'd get like $500 in the XFL. You got nothing.
Nothing.
You got nothing to be in the XFL.
Well, think about it, Bredis. $500 a game. It's like 3 hours work. You might not even be playing. What's that break down to?
You might also lose the ability to walk. So there's that. You might get some CTE for $500. Is that how much brain damage is worth?
Hey, how much CTE do you think there was among the gladiators in our next film?
Oh,
a lot. They didn't get their proper treatment. I'll say that much.
Hasn't it came out that they were more prisoners than a romanticized?
They were slaves.
Right?
Yeah,
they were slaves.
The getting your freedom thing might have happened once or twice, I would bet.
Yeah,
it probably got promised all the time. But
like you'd have to put on a massive spectacle to get your freedom. Like
the emperor just has his fingers crossed.
Yeah, so
you said I'd get my freedom. Well, I lied.
I'm the emperor.
You have to fight these 5 elephants first.
That's a great segue into our second movie.
Yeah,
Gladiator. Directed by Ridley Scott, who you've probably seen his other movies 1,000 times. Alien, Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, Hannibal, American Gangster, Black Hawk Down.
Damn.
Body of Lies, and The Martian.
One of the great directors ever.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, you said?
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, one of the great directors of all time, in my opinion.
What do you think is his most known film? Is it Blade Runner or Alien? Because I feel like that's a generational difference.
Yeah. I would say I think Blade Runner is probably his most iconic film.
Yeah, they both have such a huge impact on sci-fi.
I know. Alien definitely had the best character. Ripley. I don't know. And he like spans generations. Like that was in the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
Then Thelma and Louise in the 90s.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like if you ask some older people, they might think of Alien first. Then younger people would probably think of Blade Runner first.
Yeah.
Especially now with 2049 coming out and Blade Runner getting really popular again.
And The Martian.
Did Ridley Scott do 2049 as well?
He did not. He was a producer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was heavily involved.
Yeah, he was involved. General thoughts on Gladiator? Bredis, I know you're not a fan of the 8.5 out of 10 IMDb rating.
Yeah, I think it's a great film, won Best Picture, but I don't know if it's 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It's a great epic. It's a really big epic, but I partially think it's way too long. And it's tough with this genre because all big historical epics are normally pushing 3 hours, if not longer. Think of the original Ben-Hur, which is over 4 hours, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. You know, now that I think about it, I'm going to disagree with you, Brett. I think 8.5 is a solid rating.
I think it's people looking back on it and that initial viewing. Before we thought about doing this pod, when was the last time you thought or talked about Gladiator?
That's fair. But I will say for Gladiator, if it's on TV, I'm turning it on.
I might not. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like it drags.
Well, now if you catch that Maximus versus the Tigers scene, you're turning that shit on.
Okay, yeah, I guess it depends on the part of the movie you're at.
Yeah, you're turning that shit on. And then Raj, as we said, Roger Ebert, not a big fan, only 2 stars.
Yeah. He didn't like, reading his review, he didn't care for the way the film looked. Like how gray everything seemed, the overtones of color he didn't much care for.
Which I liked because it's not supposed to be... You tend to associate gray with like this dreariness. And like this guy's whole family was murdered. He's a slave now.
Yeah.
The Emperor was murdered. So not supposed to be a happy movie.
Yeah.
Ben, your thoughts on Gladiator? Your general thoughts?
General thoughts. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it being a badass action flick.
Hell of a film. Put Russell Crowe on the map. Put Russell Crowe on the map. No question about it. I think that goes back to what we were saying about having too famous of an actor be in the main role. You might have known who. Like, Russell Crowe was in L.A. Confidential before this.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a household name.
Yeah.
This made him a household name. And then the best scene, you got the opening battle. The Romans against, I think it was a Germanic tribe. I don't know. But hell of a battle. Lots of dogs. Lots of fire. Lots of flaming arrows. You love to see it. Commodus, played by Joaquin. Commodus kills Marcus Aurelius, his father.
Oh.
Tough scene.
Yeah.
He kills him, Ben.
With a rock?
No. He kills him. They're hugging.
Mm-hmm.
And like his dad is on his knees crying into his son because he has a really good line. He's like, all of your misdeeds are because of my faults as a father.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like crying into Commodus's chest on his knees. And Commodus like
slowly
pulls his head into his chest so he can't breathe and like suffocates him.
Yeah.
Because it was right after
Bear hug,
he announced, right after he announced Maximus was going to be the emperor. Not Commodus.
He wasn't going to let his son take the throne.
Yeah.
But I think the best parts of this movie, though, that I do enjoy is that it's a weird movie about patriotism and the sacrifice of family, and there's those great government battles of having that emperor, that king, or having that democracy, because Russell Crowe's character is very patriotic up until he becomes a slave.
Yeah.
But there's very strong notions of patriotism and fighting for one's country and protecting one's home and all of that, these overtones in the movie, and that balance of letting go of your family to go protect your country and fight for what you think your country represents or what your governmental powers represent. There's great back and forth between the Republic and Maximus.
Yeah. Oh, he's a fan favorite. He's a fan favorite for sure. Are you not entertained? Probably the most famous scene.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
From this movie.
It's the most quotable line, or most quoted line.
Widely meme scene. Should be noted, after killing everyone in the arena, throws the sword into the crowd. And shits on the crowd.
Unsheathed?
Yeah.
Dang.
Unsheathed.
Someone's dying. Some poor bastard died that day.
Yeah, I'd be ticked off if I was in the crowd.
Drinking some mead, eating a big leg of meat, and then a sword goes through his chest.
Hey, that reminds me, we should go to medieval times.
Yeah. Have our own gladiator. Jump inside, participate.
Get plastered in the first row. Get plastered in the first row of a gladiator event.
Yeah, off of mead.
Another mead over here. And then the gladiator team up scene. Maximus kind of takes charge in the quote unquote locker room before the fight. Asks if anyone has military experience.
Avengers Assemble. It's basically that scene.
Avengers Assemble is what it is. Hell of a scene. They're
How do they
heavily
lose?
outnumbered.
How do you lose that if you're the people riding around in the chariots?
I have no idea.
I don't understand.
I have no idea. Because it's rigged. It's fixed.
They give him vehicles and all kinds of weapons.
Tigers and shit. And then...
Like if we were fighting, but I also got a car. But I lost.
It's a knife fight, but Brett gets a gun.
And I lose. You deflect my bullet.
And then the final fight, Maximus versus Commodus. Commodus is a cuck, cheats, goes into the locker room beforehand, stabs Maximus with the poisonous blade, still loses.
Yeah.
Still loses.
It's like
Was it like slow acting poison? Or what was the...
It was like hallucinogenic or something. Because
I guess
double during the fight.
I guess it's fairly fast acting. He dies soon after the fight is over.
It's fairly quick. He killed him at a good time.
It lasts just long enough for him to win the fight.
Yeah. Great lines from Maximus. And Commodus, I don't know what you're doing talking shit to this guy.
Yeah. Well, you're on your ass every day. You occasionally train. This is a man that is now a slave who's fighting for his life once a week.
The greatest general of this time period.
The balls to think, even with poison in his system, that you could beat him.
And a great line from Commodus, or a great line from Maximus. Commodus says, "You don't think I'll fight you? You think I'm afraid?" And then Maximus says, "I think you've been afraid your whole life." What a line.
So Ben, having Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background,
yes,
a true fighter in our group. How are you lasting? How are you lasting in this gladiatorial arena? Are you taking a weapon or
weapons or no weapons?
Weapons, of course.
Let's say at the start you don't have a weapon. Do you think you can use your skills to procure a weapon in this fight?
I think without a weapon, against a malnourished slave warrior, without any weapons, I think I could do all right. Once weapons are introduced to the equation, man, I don't know.
What's your weapon of choice in the arena, Ben? What are you going with?
Spiky ball on a chain.
Nice.
I'm just baseball swinging it as hard as I can.
Nice.
Taking the other dude's head off.
Oh, God.
Because I want to give the people a show. I mean,
that's the thing. You got to entertain.
Got to be a show.
I don't know what the currency was then or what they had to do to get in those doors, but I'm assuming it was hard, and they looked forward to that. So I'm going to really make a mess of this guy. I'm gonna make him glad that they're
embarrass him
and working hard.
You're gonna embarrass him.
That's a good point, because that's what Oliver Reed's character kind of tells him to put on the show, to kind of play it up for everybody that's coming to see this event.
And Zach, you've been there. You've been to the Coliseum, haven't you?
I have. Actually, funny story. I went there it was the summer after junior year of high school on a school trip. Went to Rome, and the first thing I wanted to do after being in the Coliseum was watch this fucking movie. That's all I wanted to do when I got home was watch this movie.
So how many people does the Coliseum hold?
Jeez.
30,000?
I feel like that's pretty close. Let me take a look here.
For those times, too, that's a lot of people.
That is a ton of people. Let's see here. Coliseum. Seats could hold an estimated 50,000 to 80,000 spectators.
Jeez.
At various points of its history.
I mean, that's the whole city pretty much there. Whenever something's happening at the arena.
Yeah, you're in there.
You're stopping.
1% of the world's population
is all watching this fight.
I wonder how much the nosebleed seats cost. Nosebleeds at the Coliseum?
I feel like you could sneak in pretty easily.
Yeah, I feel like security is pretty lax.
Yeah. Everyone's distracted by the bloodbath. What are concessions like? Do we have concessions, you think, in the arena?
Well, you got your mead.
Yeah.
Turkey leg.
Do they have a nacho stand somewhere?
Some lamb.
Candy? Got candy going around?
It is Italy. I'm sure they have pizza.
Yeah, Diet Coke.
They do with kebab with whatever animals are fighting that night.
Yeah, if a tiger dies in the arena, it is cooked and sold in a later fight.
You think they're a Coke or Pepsi vendor? Hey, which one? They strike me as a Coke vendor.
Coke. Yeah, they're big enough. They got the numbers for Coke.
Yeah. Pepsi's not in their league. I bet they have a nacho stand somewhere.
I think so. I like
Pretty innovative.
They care.
Yeah, some corn dogs, cotton candy.
We definitely had corn.
Yeah, they definitely had corn. A lot of corn.
Corn disease.
Getting into the performances here. Russell Crowe as Maximus. Pretty iconic performance. Won Best Actor. Like I said, put him on the map. I'll get into casting what ifs for him right now. Mel Gibson was offered the role, turned it down because he thought he was too old. Turns out he was right.
Yeah.
I think he was in his late 40s at that time, 50s. And he did The Patriot this year too. So it ended up okay for him. Antonio Banderas and Hugh Jackman were considered. I can see Hugh Jackman more than I can see Banderas. Brettis, I know you said you could see Banderas in the role.
I just think because of The Legend of Zorro that he has training, and I've seen him wield a sword and have that kind of acting and that choreography down, that I think he would just have to work on being the person, not the actual gladiator as much.
Yeah. Ended up working out for Hugh Jackman. He got Wolverine.
Yeah. And that was a role he had for the next 20 years.
Yeah, worked out okay for him. Russell Crowe was offered that role, turned it down because he was doing this movie. Worked out for both guys. Russell Crowe gets an Oscar. Jackman gets a role for 20 years.
Russell Crowe in Gladiator versus Gerard Butler, 300. Who do you think?
Russell Crowe in Gladiator. For me.
It's tough. Yeah, I'd probably go with Russell Crowe.
I think Maximus just has the motivation of a lifetime. His wife and son killed. His emperor killed. He's got nothing to lose. Literally has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going with Maximus. Now, Leonidas, he's solid. It's a good pull, Ben. It's a good pull.
They're both great leaders, but one-on-one combat.
Leonidas is a tank.
It is, but
yeah,
as the gladiator, he has a lot of one-on-one experience.
Right. Yeah, I guess Leonidas is used to fighting with 200
with his boys,
other guys.
Got the boys to back him up.
Some tough boys with him.
Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus, a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Is there a bigger son of a bitch in a movie? The thumbs down. Is there a bigger son of a bitch in a film? Is there a character you hate more in a film than Commodus?
I'll tell you how much of a son of a bitch he is. Ben knows when we went to go see the first Purge, I got Commodus. I got given a thumbs down, and there are few things as infuriating as someone giving you a thumbs down.
It's an extreme form of disapproval.
Not even the middle finger, not a honk.
Just
you give
right
me because a thumbs down means that you're above me, like you're the emperor of Rome, like you have some authority above me that I should be stunned by a thumbs down.
Is that when Bateman came out, Ben?
Yeah,
Bateman came out.
I gripped the wheel a little bit tighter. I put two hands up at 10 and 2.
I think I saw your vein popping out of your neck.
I almost started the first Purge instead of watching the movie.
But Joaquin is Commodus. Joaquin is Commodus. Nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Lost to Benicio del Toro for Traffic. I'm going to say that was the wrong call.
Oh, I love Benicio del Toro in Traffic, though.
Yeah, but I just take into account how much I hate Joaquin in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he could have been more, have elements of Patrick Bateman of being a little more wild than so stern all the time, where someone with his power, the way he acts, I feel like would have been a little more flippant with how he acted and the things he said. That it was one note.
Pretty good.
It was one note. He killed it. He killed this angry, pompous, spoiled guy, but it was fairly one note for most of the movie with every scene he was in.
I think this put Joaquin on the map.
I think so. I mean,
I don't know a single movie he was in before this.
A lot of people saw it.
He ended up doing The Village, Signs, and won an Oscar last year for Joker. So,
yeah,
one of the great actors of our time, I would say. Connie Nielsen as Lucilla. Not much to say on her. I mean, does a good job at avoiding her brother's incestuous advances. Does a good job at that. Oliver Reed as Proximo. Brett, you hit on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice. He's a good coach. He's a good gladiator coach.
Fortunately, passed during filming, but
had a
good performance.
Heart attack during filming. Died. Richard Harris as Marcus Aurelius. Don't get to see him a lot. He bites the dust early on, but does a good job. Deaths. A lot of deaths in this movie. Outside of the family of Maximus, who I think clearly got it the worst. Hung and then burned alive.
When he comes back home, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. Nobody got it good. I mean, when you're a gladiator, you're not going to die a peaceful death. It's just not going to happen. Thoughts on the ending? The hero dies. The villain doesn't win, but they both die.
You get the beautiful score coming in at the end, the iconic theme of
Hans
of the movie.
Brett's boy Hans Zimmer.
It is such an angelic song. The theme for Gladiator is such a heavenly tune.
It's awesome.
It really is. It's one of a kind. Deservedly, he won the Oscar, if I'm not mistaken, for best score this year.
Yes, wow. I believe he did. He was at least nominated.
Yeah.
This movie was nominated for a ton of awards.
Yeah.
And he also did Dunkirk.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer did Dunkirk, Inception, Interstellar, Gladiator.
Dark Knight trilogy.
The Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, he's one of the legends of
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
He's done a ton. Ben, thoughts on the ending? Maximus dies.
That's news to me, brother. So he dies.
It's the poison. When he dies cheap shotted with that poison blade, it's what kills him after he beats Commodus.
Yeah.
And his family's just left in shambles, or how does that go?
Well, his family is dead.
They were already in shambles.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were burned alive and hung at his house.
Oh, and that's his fuel throughout the movie.
Yeah. That sends him into a bit of a rage.
Yeah, he doesn't sit well with him. Rubs him the wrong way.
Doesn't take it lightly.
That's what I'm saying. Commodus talking shit. It's like, this guy killed how many people? And he walks up to him, Ben, and says, "They tell me your wife moaned like a whore."
Ooh.
Like, and your son begged for mercy. It's like, why are you talking shit?
Happen?
Yeah, you think you're going to beat this guy?
You don't do that to a guy who's lost so much.
Yeah. Death means nothing to him at that point.
No. I kind of like the ending. He gets to be with his family in the end.
Yeah, if his family was already dead, I think that is a good choice to kill him off.
Yeah.
What else does he have to live for, really?
Exactly.
Yeah, if he does live, what does he do? Just hang out in the city alone?
Continues his quest to be the greatest gladiator ever.
The gladiator stories. I used to be one of those guys.
And then the impact on the historical genre. I got this from Wikipedia. The film began a revival of the historical epic genre with films like The Last Samurai, Troy, The Alamo, King Arthur, Alexander, 300 Ben, Kingdom of Heaven, and Robin Hood.
That's trends.
Yeah.
Trends in Hollywood. And if one movie of a certain genre pops off at the box office, you bet your ass you're getting same movies of that kind.
Oh, hell yeah. Gladiator Arena set piece from the '02 film Star Wars Episode 2, which entered production shortly after the release of Gladiator, has been compared to the arena setting in Gladiator.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can definitely see it.
I feel like any arena that you make, I thought that was going to be compared to that arena.
Yeah.
Just the Roman Coliseum. I think any arena you build will now just be compared to it anyways.
The Coliseum and most of ancient Rome in this movie was CGI'd. And I thought it held up pretty well, especially for 2000.
Yeah. That's where a lot of that budget went.
Yeah. Oscars, ton of Oscars. Won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Costume Design, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound. And was nominated for Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Joaquin, Best Original Screenplay, Best Production Design, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score. So Hans didn't win. I don't know who won that year, but and then Best Film Editing. So had to have been the most nominated movie of the year.
Yeah.
Got into casting What Ifs earlier. And then fun facts, $103 million budget. It's a pretty big budget. $460.5 million box office. It was the second highest grossing movie of the year behind Tom Cruise. Mission Impossible 2. The script was rewritten a lot. Took them a while to get to a final draft. And then some historical inaccuracies here that I don't really give a shit about, but thought they were worth mentioning. Marcus Aurelius, who was Commodus' father, wasn't murdered by Commodus, but died of a plague.
It was the Roman times.
Yeah.
People were dying early on.
And Commodus engaged in combat in the arena regularly, but that was not how he died. He was strangled by the wrestler Narcissus.
What a way to get killed by a man literally named Narcissist. There's nothing more ironic.
And in the film, Commodus does not reign that long. In real life, he reigned for 12 years. And his death ushered in peace in the movie, not the case in real life. It ushered in a bloody power struggle. It ended up being the famous Year of the Five Emperors in 193 AD. So his death did not solve any problems. Any final thoughts on Gladiator before we moved on to Castaway? Anything to add?
After we close it up, I am going to have to head out. Got to pick up a friend at the airport. So
It's always great having you, Ben, for 2 of the 3. We'll have you back on again.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been real.
Yes, thanks for coming, Ben.
So how are we going to close on Gladiator? Because I've not seen the film. You guys already told me what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we've basically hit on everything.
Yeah. It's worth the watch. It personally didn't leave a huge impact on me. I think it's a great action movie. It is a tad bit long, in my opinion, at just under 3 hours. But it's a big historical epic, so you get what what you signed up for. If you didn't expect a long ass movie, then that's just not your genre.
I would say it's easily Ridley Scott's a top 3 movie from Ridley Scott.
Yeah, it's one of the better historical epics because there's a lot of stinkers in that category.
Yeah, we mentioned them: Troy, The Alamo, King Arthur.
Yeah,
some bad ones. So, all right, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure having you on.
See you, boys.
See ya. All right. Finishing it out, just the duo now. We got our last film of the night, rounding out our 20-year anniversary. Castaway.
We had Castaway. Honestly, a favorite of mine. I've got this and Gladiator in my collection. I do not have American Psycho. But
I had not seen this, and I don't know how long. I think the last time I saw it might have been in school for some reason.
God.
I don't know why we were watching Castaway, but it had been a very long time since I'd seen it.
I remember freshman year of high school, we watched this in geography class.
That might have been before today before redoing the movie, that might have been the last time I'd seen it.
And then do you remember that bullshit psychology class we took senior year?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we watched it in there.
It wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah. Because, why not?
Why not? Why teach when you can throw out a movie?
So Castaway, the last movie to come out of these three, December 22nd, 2000.
Right before the Oscars.
Oh, I bet that was a coincidence. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, who, pretty famous actor, directed the Back to the Future trilogy. Or famous director, I should say. Directed Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, The Polar Express, A Christmas Carol, and Flight. So quite an accomplished guy.
Yeah.
7.8 out of 10 IMDb. That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
And then Roger Ebert, a fan, gave it 3 stars.
Our boy Raj.
You never know with Raj. Gave Gladiator 2 stars, ended up winning Best Picture.
Yeah, it is fun. There are certain critics, he's one of them, that after I watch a movie for the first time or an older movie, because now all his reviews are done by other people on his team because he passed away. But if it's an older movie that I haven't seen, after I watch it and form my own opinions or watch it a few times, I will check out certain critics, especially Roger Ebert, if it was reviewed by him himself, to kind of compare what he thought for certain movies, things that he noticed that I didn't, where we disagree. Because there's a lot of movies where I'm like, hell yeah, that's a 4 out of 4. My boy Roger's got my back. And there's other movies where I'm upset when I see the review, whether it be a movie I love, get a half a star, or a movie I thought that gets 4 stars that he gave a 2 star.
Right. Like, sometimes he would, if you go back and look at interviews on YouTube, sometimes he'll backtrack years after the fact and be like, well, it's actually a 4 star.
He often, before he passed, did that. He would rewrite a review and the score would change. It would either be higher or lower. But I do appreciate that. When you see a movie and if you do it the day it came out or the same year, a couple months after, it might still be fresh and raw. 10 years later, you rewatch it, you notice things. It doesn't age as well. It doesn't leave as much of an impact as you thought it might. He's an honest critic.
He's an honest critic. Probably
when he doesn't like a movie, he does not beat around the bush.
No, he
calls it out. If you have a favorite movie, go to rogerebert.com and see if it came out. When did he pass? 2011, 2013?
2013.
If it came out before 2013, see what Roger thought. Because if your favorite movie, heaven forbid, got a thumbs down or a half a star or 1 star, he's gonna shit on your favorite movie.
Brace yourself. Well, I wonder what was keeping Castaway from getting 4 stars. Seems like a 4-star movie to me.
I do agree. I don't agree with everything in his review, but I do agree that the weaker parts are everything not on the island. The opening and closing of the movie are not super strong. So that's why it's not the perfect movie. At the opening, drags. It is a little boring for setting up stuff. But once you get to the island and it is just Tom Hanks, wow, it's such a good performance. It's so entertaining.
I think it's 2000, so it counts as 21st century. Damn near 2001.
Yeah.
I think it's a top 10 performance of the century. Tom Hanks in Castaway.
It's one of his better performances.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, for a majority of the movie, there's no supporting actor. Your supporting actor is a volleyball.
Exactly.
That you've got to be able to show some emotion, show your range of ability. You can't play off a phenomenal supporting actor, supporting actress.
How many actors are there who could pull this off, where you are alone in an isolated place for 2 hours?
Yeah. And
the audience is like, yeah, okay, I'll be alone with Tom Hanks for 2 hours. Yeah. How many actors are like that?
Who knows? It's once in a lifetime. You've got to hold the audience. That's it. They've got to like you, because if they don't, they're going to either turn it off, or if they're in a theater, they're in for a long ride of just hanging out with you.
That's why I've always been hesitant to say A lot of people say, well, The Martian is just Castaway on Mars. No.
There's a lot of good supporting actors in that movie.
You cut back to Earth a lot in The Martian.
And there's great performances.
Yeah. You've got great actors.
Yeah.
And then here, we have it in the fun facts. As soon as the plane crashes and Chuck gets on the island, there are no cutaways back home. You're on that island with him the whole movie.
Which is a great choice. And that's the thing. If this isn't a good movie, it's not like it's a thumbs down type movie. Like, it's trash. This movie is either really good or really bad because it all hinges on one guy and his performance. If it doesn't come off well, it's too cheesy, and or heaven forbid it's boring and slow and not entertaining on the island, that's it. Your movie's washed because you've got 15 minutes at the beginning and end, maybe.
That's the other thing, Brett. You have to keep it not boring. And it's just one guy in a place for upwards of 2 hours.
Pacing alone. So if you write in the movie and you know he gets stranded, but he eventually gets off, what does he do for 2 hours?
Right.
So you know he's going to eventually get off and get home when you're writing this screenplay. How do you think in your head, how do I entertain or keep an interesting story for 2 hours when he's just trying shit?
Yeah. Just trying to live.
I think it's a testament to the writing, to the performance, that it really is a movie about the loneliness and discovering yourself, what's important in your life versus what's not important, because you go from taking things for granted to being stranded on an island. So it hits those chords that I think resonate with a lot of people, that was probably made it a 3-star movie in someone like Roger's eyes, that those are the best parts.
Yeah, I think this movie, and to some extent Gladiator, the last movie we talked about, these are just movies about like the human spirit. Like, don't give up. The will to survive. Will to keep going.
What would you do for your family? I mean, there's all these, as grand as a movie ever is, take a really close look at what the issue is, at what the aim of the movie is. And a lot of the times they're pretty simple themes or ideas. They're things that resonate and can relate to almost anybody who goes to the movie.
Yeah.
Anybody can relate to trying to you don't know really who you are, trying to discover yourself, feeling lonely at times. And there's something in this movie at a certain point, especially on the island, you can resonate with.
I mean, Castaway is such a simple plot. Plane crashes, guy tries to get back home.
Yeah.
It's the plot.
And it's just 2 hours of watching him try to get back, the highs.
Try to survive.
Yeah, the lows of wanting to give up and thinking there's no way I'm going to die here, to the hope again and trial and error of how to escape. And talk about rooting for your protagonist, though. Getting people on his side. Yeah. God, you want him to get off that island.
God. I mean, we talked before the movie, his whole motivation to get off the island is he's got this girl he was going to marry back home.
Oh, no. That
ends up not working out for him.
That's tough. That's such good writing, though, too. You get this brief moment of he's back, but then the irony that you learn is crushing.
Yeah, I know. It's just literally the only thing keeping him alive. The only thing keeping him from not killing himself or whatever. Like, this girl he's going to marry back home.
And they present it in a logical way that it's not like he was gone for 2 weeks and she got remarried and had a kid.
It's gone for 4 years.
4 years. At a certain point, people around you were like, you got to get back out there. He would want you to move on. It's good that they don't paint her as a villain. It's not like he was stuck for 2 weeks and she was like, got hitched and had a kid. So she's only a bad person. You can understand and feel for her as well, because it's pain for her too. She, honest to God, thought that he was dead.
I would have thought
the love of her life. 4 years missing. A plane crashed. Statistically, he's probably dead.
A plane crash in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, it's not unconceivable to think that everybody on the plane would have died. So she's very much in the right to eventually move on and have her own life. Was she going to sit around for 4 years and sulk?
Just wait, yeah.
Eventually, 4 years, you're going to move on, and that's what makes it so much more heartbreaking and grounded.
Zemeckis and Hanks, no strangers to each other, worked together on Forrest Gump, and Tom Hanks won the Oscar for Best Actor, rightfully so.
Yeah,
for Forrest Gump. And then this movie, he was nominated for Best Actor, so a quality combo between Zemeckis and Hanks.
Yeah. Whoever won, I mean, or was it Russell Crowe? It's tough to beat someone in a movie like this when all they got to do is act. That's all they're doing.
A close second, man.
Yeah.
It had to have been how the voting went. It had to have been neck and neck between Hanks and Crowe. It just had to have been. I mean, like we said, Ed Harris in the Jackson Pollock biopic. Ed Harris, great actor. I don't give a fuck about a Jackson Pollock movie.
I don't care. That is a niche audience.
That was Oscar bait. I bet that came out in December too.
Yeah. I mean, just biopics in general. Unless, nowadays you see a trailer and there's a bunch of actors you like. I didn't go to see Ford vs. Ferrari because I was interested in Shelby and the foundation of Ford.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, Matt Damon and
Christian Bale. The trailer looks pretty neat. James Mangold.
Yeah. The Le Mans and I'll go see it, but I wasn't like, oh yeah. Like Vice. I wasn't like, I need to know about Dick Cheney. I see that
Christian Bale, Sam Rockwell, Amy Adams.
Like, okay. I'm interested to see where this goes.
You know, sometimes biopics hit hard, like Aviator.
Yeah, I wasn't clamoring for a Vice movie, Dick Cheney biopic, but I'm happy I got it now.
Yeah. Like we're saying, sometimes they hit hard. Aviator, one of our favorites.
Yeah.
And sometimes they miss. J. Edgar.
I didn't know who Howard Hughes was. Oh, okay. I don't know how far I get into that movie every time I watch it, but it might be the 30-minute mark.
J. Edgar.
I wanna like that movie so goddamn bad.
Me too. It's fucking Leo and Clint.
I don't know
on paper
why.
It should work.
I don't know why. It's got to be the pacing or something, but I seriously get 30 minutes, maybe more into it, and then I turn it off every time.
Well, it could be the CGI.
Yeah.
It's, he looks like a ballsack. He looks bad. I mean, come on. Don't tell me they didn't have the CGI. Brad Pitt was an old man in Benjamin Button 3 years before that.
Maybe they got a B team of artists. Maybe they all went to work on Benjamin Button, the A team.
They got the interns from Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Where do you rank this among Tom Hanks' performances? I'd say damn near second place.
Yeah, Forrest Gump is a pop culture icon. That it's hard to take yourself out of it and analyze his other roles, but
Saving Private Ryan.
But again, Saving Private Ryan, Forrest Gump, you've got a good supporting cast. You got characters to bounce off of. This is pure Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
If you're not a good actor, this movie bombs. You can't hide. You can't let your scene partner take over.
No.
You've got to kill it scene after scene after scene after scene. There's nowhere to hide when it's just you.
Yeah, go ahead.
From that regard, I wouldn't complain if someone said this is their favorite or best Tom Hanks.
Oh, me neither.
I can't argue against it.
Me neither. I'm trying to think of big actors at that time who could have pulled this off. Michael Douglas comes to mind. Not could have pulled it off, but like they could have tried it.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas, Denzel.
Ooh, yeah. Denzel would have brought something very different. I'd be interested to see how he would have done.
I'd be fine being alone with Michael Douglas or Denzel for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't want to complain.
Kevin Spacey?
I don't know if Kevin Spacey could.
I'm trying to think. 2000. Also, get back to Russell Crowe. What a run for him. Went from this to A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
Not too bad for him.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Tom Hanks. Oh, Apollo 13. Another good Hanks performance. I would say this is probably his second best.
Is he the most likable guy in Hollywood? Because all you hear are good things.
Yeah.
Granted, it's Hollywood and he could be involved in some crazy shit that comes out later. But as for now, As for now, the only thing you hear about Tom Hanks is that he is super nice.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'd really hate to have some of these movies tainted.
Seems like everybody likes Denzel too.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I'd probably say Tom Hanks. Definitely not Tom Cruise.
No, that's the Scientology though, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
That's tough to get around.
That's the thing. I heard Tom Cruise is super nice, like incredibly nice and thoughtful. But there's a thing about if I badmouth them or say something and there's men in suit outside my house blackmailing me to join the church.
Brennis, I know you're a big score guy. Pretty famous score for this movie. Alan Silvestri did it.
Yeah. I think
also did the Avengers films.
Yeah, I think this score is similar to Gladiator in a sense that the strings at least for the main theme. I can't recall every single musical ensemble, but the main theme
is when he gets off the island.
Yeah, the stringed instruments. It's such a light, like Gladiator, like a heavenly tune. It fits perfectly. And that's the thing for good scores is that they don't have to be fun to listen to on their own, but they have to fit the scene perfectly. And I think every musical choice they make fits the mood or the tone of whatever scene is going on.
Let me tell you, the score hits hard when he gets off the island because, and we get into it in fun facts, but there is no music when he gets on the island. It's literally just us and him.
Yeah.
So that's the first time we hear music when he gets off the island. 4 years on the island, then we get music.
It wouldn't be the same if there was some soundtrack behind him.
Hell of a choice.
And running.
Hell of a choice. It
brings you in. It really pulls you in. You feel like you are there with him, because if he's trying to do something or he's running away or he's panicked and there's a action thumping drum beat in the background, then it feels like a movie.
Yeah.
Now it really feels like there's a man stranded and dying on an island that you so want him to get off.
Son of a bitch, I love this movie. I love it. I should not love it as much as I do. I mean, it's not a happy movie. It doesn't end well for him.
But it has good funny moments. That's the thing. For a man who's stuck on an island and most likely death is encroaching at every turn, they weave in very nuanced, perfect humor. The Wilson thing was such a great creative choice.
Yeah.
You think you're on the island. It's like they say you got to keep your mind busy if you're ever isolated or to not lose your mind, to go crazy, to play a game or do something that makes you think critically. You've got no friends, no one to bounce ideas off of. Granted, it looks like he might be insane when he makes Wilson.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that he's alone. He's got no one to talk to. So he makes a friend and you get such funny conversations between him and Wilson. God, when he loses Wilson,
it's like a death.
It's pulled in your heartstrings.
It's like a death.
It's his only friend and he's floating away.
It's like a death. You're rooting for him to get away.
The screams that he makes for Wilson, you think it's a death.
Wilson! Wilson! I'm sorry! I'm sorry, Wilson! Wilson, I'm sorry!
That's pain.
Yeah.
When he's screaming Wilson.
Son of a bitch. End of this pod, I might say Tom Hanks got robbed.
That's what I'm saying about Gladiator. Bouncing off.
So good, though.
Your supporting actor was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That's a killer performance. Wilson didn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That's all Tom Hanks, baby.
Best Supporting Inanimate Object.
They roll the volleyball onto the stage. But that's why I was saying, it's hard. I could see why it's a more entertaining movie for some people to be Gladiator. But all this movie is Tom Hanks acting. Not a lot of CGI like Gladiator required.
No.
It's just a dude on an island for 2
definitely
hours.
Could have gone either way.
Yeah, you don't know if he's getting off.
Yeah.
He has a lot of close calls.
And it could have gone either way with him and Crow. Like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, go back in time, watch these Oscars. It's going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
And you're probably just assuming one of them, their name is going to get called.
But probably the hype train around it, what? Was this 11, 12 nominations?
Castaway?
Or no, I'm talking about
Gladiator.
Gladiator. Like, it's hard to go up against it when the movie is nominated for, 10? What do we have?
12.
12, yeah. That's like Lord of the Rings
5.
type. When they got 11 nominated, or they won 11.
Yeah. Castaway was nominated for 2. Best Actor and Best Sound.
Yeah. It's like when it has that much hype, that means everybody's talking about it. Come Oscar. The most nominated movie, there's so much buzz around it that it just gets overshadowed. But that's the thing with the Academy. Did everybody that was voting see Castaway? Or were they in a trance by Gladiator? Did they see that and go, that'd be kind of boring? He's just doing stuff on the island. So, who knows?
I mean, obviously, I don't hate the Russell Crowe win.
No,
he definitely deserved it.
No,
one of the great performances of our lifetime.
Yeah, one of the better historical epics there is.
But Tom Hanks, any other year, Tom Hanks wins. Any other year.
Yeah.
Best scene. Believe it or not, there's quite a few great scenes in this movie, even though there's not a lot going on. The plane crash. Brutal plane crash.
Yeah.
The only survivor.
That's a tough realization. Tough to accept.
Yeah, and you see it when that guy washes up on shore, finds out he has a family, has to bury him.
Tough.
Yeah. Talking to Wilson, any scene with him talking to Wilson.
I mean, it's that moment of humor that you need in this movie. Otherwise, it might be too dark. It gives you those breaks to just take a breath, to just have a quick little laugh before other shit pops off.
Because I don't think this movie works if he's just talking to himself the whole time.
No.
I think having him talk to Wilson. Silent. Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing. For a movie, you might have him talk out loud, but in real life, you might just think in your head. There's no need to talk. So it would be very boring. So it's a good creative choice and narrative choice to give him a reason to speak.
Yeah.
Have him say shit because there's no one else in the movie.
Any scene talking to Wilson. It really gets into it after the 4 years have passed. When they're in the cave and he's talking to a goddamn volleyball. It like throws him. I Have Made Fire.
There you go! Line it up! Come on! The torn, the hesitated through!
If he didn't make fire, he was fucked.
Oh, yeah. God.
Fucked. So I don't blame him for celebrating. Becomes an expert. Like if I'm going camping in the middle of nowhere, I'm taking Chuck Nolan with me.
Yeah.
See if he wants to come by. The impromptu dental surgery. Tough scene.
You wince. I winced whenever I see it because it's tough.
With a skate.
Yanking.
An ice skate.
God. That's infected.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a proper way to remove a tooth. It's getting infected.
But his mindset is probably, you know what, I'm fucked anyway.
Yeah.
If I die of an infection, it's better than hanging myself.
I don't give a shit.
And then getting off the island, in my opinion, best scene in the movie.
Yeah, because you get a moment of, oh, thank God.
Yeah, once he gets over that last wave, man, it's like, wow, he fucking did it.
Short-lived.
Yeah.
Short-lived good emotion.
I forgot to put Losing Wilson in here.
That's tough.
Like I said, it's like a death. And then Chuck he's just like, fuck it, throws the oars of his raft into the water, and he's just floating.
Yeah.
He's just floating. What was he going to do for food on this trip? He's just not going to eat? He's going to fast? So I didn't see him pack any fish or anything.
No. He was just hoping it was a quick trip. It's a day trip, a few hours.
And then reuniting with Kelly and the keep breathing monologue. I like the keep breathing monologue because he talks about how close he came to just offing himself, how Kelly kept him alive.
Tough to listen to.
Tough reuniting with Kelly. Seeing she's moved on.
Yeah.
This brings me to our question. Has anyone been fucked over harder in a movie than Chuck Noland? I'm going to say hard, no. He gets it. He gets the shaft more than anyone.
It's up there. It is up there.
This dude's about to get married. His life was ahead of him. He's got a great career at FedEx. Tanked. Fucking tanked. And then the final scene. He's at the crossroads on the dirt road. And I'm going to guess he goes and like starts a thing with that redhead.
We like to believe it's a happy ending.
I'm going to guess he does. Brettis, what was in the box he didn't open?
Well, if it's anything like the other movie I've seen about mysterious things in a box, it might be best to not open it. Mysterious boxes sometimes. Think of Seven, Barton Fink, the two that come off the top of my head. Sometimes if you get a closed box, there's a reason it was given to you closed.
We talked about Tom Hanks as Chuck. What would you have done to survive, and could you have survived?
I think about this when I see shows like Naked and Afraid and Survivor Man, and post getting type 1 diabetes, I give myself a week tops. And then I shout out to anybody with type 1 diabetes. We are dying.
I didn't even think about that for you.
The type 1 diabetic climbed Mount Everest, but he didn't take any shots, but he ate an unfathomable amount of food to keep his blood sugar up. That means I would have to consistently find food with sugar and carbs. The fucking fish is not going to help. I got to find like berries, and if I'm on the wrong island and that's not a hot commodity, a few days, maybe a week tops, and then that's it. The movie for me is not 2 hours. My movie is 60 minutes, and I either get off the island quick or I die. Because that's me. If I crash, I can't bullshit. As tough as it might be to be the lone survivor in a plane crash, I can't bury anybody's body. I can't think about the lost lives. We're building this goddamn raft.
Get out of here now.
And we're leaving. So I'm not faring too well. You'd probably outlast me.
I'm just thinking if we crash land together, we'd be like, well, you're fucked.
We got to find berries.
I'm only marginally better off. Me, I don't think I would die much longer after you did. I might last a couple more days.
Most of the time is spent burying my body.
Yeah, I'd be expending my energy burying you, and then knowing my luck, I'd come across like some native on the island who'd see me as a threat and kill me.
Get bit by a snake.
Eat a poisonous berry or something.
Just dig a grave next to mine, just lay in it. Go to bed.
Just a waiting game. Say you do crash land.
All right.
And you have, just say you're carrying 4 movies with you. Just in case you crash land. What are they?
Fuck. This is similar to someone saying, like, what are your favorite movies?
Well, think about this.
Being a film school guy, it's such an impossible task.
These are 4 movies. Now, it's a given there's a TV on the island. Wherever you land.
There's a functional Blu-ray player. Somehow.
Previous tenant left it there.
What are your 4? Do you have your 4 ready?
Well, the thing to think about is, let's just act like you're going to be there as long as he was. So 4 years.
Yeah, so you got to pick
the only movies you have for 4 years
that are rewatchable.
Yeah,
it can't be too heavy hitting or depressing.
Yeah, I'm not bringing Schindler's List.
No.
Well, if I'm bringing them knowing I might crash land, I'm going to bring this. I'm going to bring Castaway.
Relate.
Yeah. So I'll bring Castaway.
Do you bring The Dark Knight?
Yes. Yes. I bring The Dark Knight. I bring Castaway. What kind of question is that?
Just bring the Dark Knight trilogy. Leave one room for one movie. Just constantly rewatch.
No, I didn't say that.
4 years though. Like, what are good movies that you could watch consistently for 4 years?
Maybe like a movie you
gotta bring some comedies. You gotta bring some comedies.
Yeah. Maybe like a movie you notice something different every time, like Memento or Inception.
Yeah. Maybe you might want to bring one super beautiful cinematic movie to just look at.
Yeah. Blade Runner 2049.
Something like that. For comedies, I'm thinking of like a Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah.
Or someone inspired him, a French director, Jacques Tati. He has movies that are just like that, all physical comedy, mono clay, playtime. Very visual, physical comedy. You don't even need to listen to the dialogue.
Yeah, I'm not bringing Schindler's List or anything like that. Hell, I might not bring this movie. It's a sad movie.
Yeah. Do you bring a Marvel movie? Do you bring some MCU?
If I do, it's Winter Soldier. Yeah. All right, off the top of my head, I will go Dark Knight, Goodfellas, Silence of the Lambs.
Goodfellas.
Silence of the Lambs. You got to get a thriller in there.
Huh?
Got to get a thriller in there. Then comedy, I'm going to go... go The Hangover. Comedy.
4. I'll take Playtime for my comedy.
All right.
It's a good just action. Should I bring Mission Impossible Fallout?
Equalizer 2.
Just some... What about a Transformers? Just some
brainless movie.
Mind-numbingly cool action.
Hell yeah. Good thinking.
6 Underground, just the first 30 minutes.
First 30 minutes of 6 Underground.
Playtime. Fuck, Goodfellas is such a good choice.
The Departed.
Scarface, maybe.
Yeah.
Just a big fuck you type movie.
Yeah.
King of the World. I do want to bring like a great cinematic movie.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now could be good. Maybe like Interstellar or
yeah.
Just some like a cerebral, out of this world. What's one more? I'll bring Masters of Disguise.
All right. Just to piss off your dad.
Ida Carvey. Might have gotten 1 star by Roger. That's a movie that my childhood was founded upon.
Is it possible we get no stars?
Yes, he does give thumbs down.
Wow.
I'm going to look up what Roger gave. I looked at it before, and I wasn't surprised, but I wasn't happy.
You were hurt. You were hurt.
I haven't rewatched it since I was a kid, and I know it's not fundamentally a good movie. And
well, Toy Story 2 was like that for me as a kid. I watched that movie probably twice a day.
He gave it 1 star.
Wow.
The Master of Disguise pants and wheezes and hurls itself exhausted across the finish line after barely 65 minutes of of movie, and then follows it with 15 minutes of end credits and an attempt to clock it in as a feature film.
Wow.
Fuck you, Roger. Oh, does he dress up like a turtle to get into a club called the Turtle? Yeah. All right.
So what?
He does.
It's part of the plot, you rat.
Does he act like a turtle too? Yeah, he goes full method.
Respect. Put respect on it.
You want the plot. Carvey plays an Italian waiter. Guess his name. Guess his fucking name.
Something outrageous. Giuseppe.
His first name is Pistachio. and that's the better of the two. And his last name is Disguisey.
Oh. Data. No. Data. You're better. Better than this.
Oh, God.
Wow. Well, getting back on topic here. Like we said at the Oscars, nominated for Best Actor and Best Sound. Didn't win either. The fun facts, $90 million budget. So pretty hefty budget.
Yeah.
1,000. And killed it at the box office, $429.6 million. The third highest grossing movie of the year.
Jeez.
Shot between 1998 and 2000, but not consecutively, Brettis.
No.
Because Hanks gained 50 pounds in pre-production to make the transformation look more dramatic. And then production was halted after a majority of the shooting so that he could lose the weight and grow his hair and beard out.
God, how long would that take to not only lose 50 pounds, but to wait to get a 4-year-long beard, basically?
So that is actually his hair and beard.
Wow. What a look. What an iconic look to just be able to whip out.
I bet, like, going around to, like, dinners and stuff, he looked outrageous. Like, has Tom lost his mind? Is Tom smoking again? Filmed on one of the islands of Fiji. And like we said, no music or cutaways to civilization once Chuck arrives on the island. Hell of a call right there by the editing team. So, Castaway. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Hell of a movie. If I'm putting them in order, these three of what I think is the best and what I think you should see, it's American Psycho, Castaway, and then Gladiator.
It's a tough three. See, I would probably go Gladiator, Castaway, American Psycho. Kills me to put American Psycho last, but not a knock on it among these three movies.
No, you're in good company.
Hopefully, we might do another 20th anniversary episode. I'm thinking we do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Memento, and either Unbreakable or The Patriot.
Yeah.
So,
we got a lot of good ones coming up, a lot of good ideas in the works. Different types of pods. There won't always be these 3 anniversaries or trilogy pods if those are too long in our style. We've got some stuff in the works, mixing it up.
Got our character breakdowns coming.
Yeah, not everybody's a 3.5 hour Dark Knight kind of guy, and I understand that.
Oh God, totally.
I get that. So we'll hit you with some more succinct content.
Hopefully, later this week we'll be recording some character breakdown shows.
Yep.
Where a little shorter than our usual pods. We'll be focusing on one character from cinema and breaking them down in individual episodes. So I think we're going to be starting with Travis from Taxi Driver. And then
good start.
Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. So 2 iconic performances. Yep.
Stay tuned for those.
Stay tuned. As always, thanks for listening. And thanks again to Ben for coming on.
Yep, you'll see more of him. If you enjoyed his commentary, you'll be seeing more.
He'll be back. So, okay. Thank you for listening.